And the survey is people are displaced and dehumanized. Now for people who are immigrants, they understand what displacement means, right? How many are immigrants here? How many immigrants? Oh, well, half of them are immigrants. So for immigrants, they are uprooted from home country, away from their family and friends, so they are displaced. Even for people born in Canada, they also might feel displaced. And also here, dehumanization. Remember last time we talked about IT relationship? What is IT? What is IT? Anyone remember? IDAO means what? IT, I treat you as. You remember? Come on, no remember? IT relationship.
Yeah, treat them like an instrument.
Yeah. IT means dehumanizing another person. You're just a piece of meat. An instrument, right? IT. That's IT. IT. Okay, I'm sorry about that. It means IT, okay? You treat people as it. Dehumanize. You feel people using you at work, at home. You feel people are using you, they don't respect you as a human being. Now, if you feel displaced and dehumanized, you can't feel good about yourself. How can you feel good about yourself if nobody cares about how you feel? And nobody cares how you feel. They just try to use you. You have no use for me, then I'm no good for you. Bye-bye. That's how we treat other people, right? Do you have any use for me? Bye-bye, right? So how we treat people as it. That's a problem. So now what we need now is to restore a sense of personhood. Restore a sense of community. This is what we're doing now, right? A sense of personhood and community. Here, the personhood now, okay? Other person not a mental health problem. You see yourself either as a person with meaning or a problem, a mental health problem in society. There's a huge difference. You see yourself as a problem, or you see yourself as a person. So we treat people as a problem to be solved. We treat people as it, right? As it. But if we treat people as a person, then we know that this person has feeling. He has a meaning system that we really understand what he thinks, how he thinks. So I'm making the meaning hypothesis that meaning is the best antidote to mental illness. Meaning is the best antidote to mental illness through meaning and communion. You can make the world, remember, we say, well, there's something wrong with our society. Our society is broken. But our society consists of people, right? So the best way to change society is by changing the way how you live. You can't change society without changing yourself. Okay? So you make the world a better place by making yourself a better person. So making life better, it begins with you. Okay. Now here's it. Now the Bible says today is Sunday, right? How many people go to church this morning? What the Bible says? The Bible says be the light of the world, right? It's the same idea that you can't change the world without changing yourself. You cannot make the world a better place without making yourself a better person. That's you, right? Hopefully that's you, that's me. If we can reproduce the group, we can produce 1,000 candlelights, the community will be better, right? So any question about that? Yeah, Krista?
What if someone is in an abusive relationship and they continually try to be better and better and better and be the light that they know that they can be?
Okay, thank you. You know what? It's hard to remain alive when you are in any kind of abusive relationship. The first thing to do, that you have to stop that relationship, get out of the relationship. I mean, yes,
You got to be a light to yourself before you can be a light to anyone else.
yeah. But you might in a abusive relationship, it doesn't mean that you have to turn ugly or turn monster like the abuser. But somehow this abusive relationship has to end. No one should stay in an abusive relationship. You're a free woman. I always say, you're a free woman. Right? I always tell my assistant, they're a free woman.
See, I don't believe that though. In my opinion, I'm talking about women basically. I think a lot of women that are in abusive relationships think that there is no other way. So their self-esteem is so low that they cannot see anything different. So to find the light in yourself is almost impossible. If someone keeps telling you that this is the way, if you're being abused whether it's mental or physical, in my opinion, your self-esteem is so low that you can't find the light.
So that's why I say,
Yeah.
if you are in an abusive relationship, find a way to end the relationship before anything else. Seek help. I remember a person in a abusive relationship. Will make arrangements, make phone calls, so she's able to get out of the abusive relationship, to move to a safe shelter. That's the beginning, and now she's she's out of the relationship. She's now found herself, start a new life, new chapter. So that you can't talk about being alive and remain in a relationship, because that can kill you. That can kill you. Yeah. And some therapists will refuse to provide counseling until they get out of the relationship. Because what are you doing counseling? When to get out, it continues to be broken, to be abused. Some people feel very strongly about that. So when you, yes?
I think you're simplifying it, because there are many people that don't even know they're in an abusive relationship, because that's all they've ever known. They may have come from one dysfunctional abusive relationship and go into another, and they know that they don't feel good about it, but they really have never experienced anything that is not abusive. So they think, I'm going to leave the relationship, and where am I going to go? From the devil that I know to the devil I don't know? Because if you grew up in an environment where your parents had a dysfunctional abusive relationship and you were abused, and then you tend to sort of drift into another abusive relationship, and that's all you know.
That's very sad, right? That's why it began with awakening, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, start somewhere, right? You start somewhere in the head, say, oh, I can't continue to live like this anymore. I need change, okay? You have to start, this light has to start as a light bulb turn on in your own head. I can't go on living like this. I'm sick and tired of from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship. I can't stay that way any longer. There has to be a new way. That began. the beginning.
But that requires a lot of self-awareness and a lot of
But that-
self-education and being aware of the world around you. Like
Yeah, but
intentionally observing the world around you to learn something new, to teach yourself that there's something different out
That's
there.
right, that's
But not everyone has that ability.
But I think whoever is here, they already are starting the path
Yeah.
of getting out. Whoever is not here, they're still in their abusive relationship, they don't get this message. So if you're already here, you're already making a
So-
small
so
baby step.
Bring a friend here, right? I'll tell him to wake up. Yeah.
It comes from awareness, but it can also come from a place of, sometimes, you know, it's said that you have to go to the very bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And I went there, and it's also from counseling, but that's when I get out of a abusive relationship, after a depression. So sometimes it was a gift.
But sometimes I hit rock bottom. Sometimes I hit rock bottom, you
And
know.
also, I feel that a lot of women don't have the choices for meeting people or having the ability to find people that are going to support them to move on. Okay, as I'm saying is when they're in that abusive relationship, they don't have anybody to talk to. Because I think women that are in that relationship, they keep them there so that they don't have other outings or other people to be influenced by. So it's very difficult for them to move on.
But somebody may be helping. They might need a helping hand. They might need somebody giving them a nudge.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah, somebody might have to reach out. Yes.
I think, and yes, on the contrary, with the social problems we do have, you have so many communities, you have psychiatrists, you have counselors, you have so much help out there. We have shelters for women. You just have to put on the TV and be aware that, wait a minute, gee, Frank comes home and beats me up, that's not right. You know, I think it's
It is a
no reason why
But I
a person
think-
can't be aware of
It's
their
not that
situation.
But I think help is out there.
Oh, yeah,
But
everywhere.
people, there are two problems there. One is
That's
people not
right.
aware of it, okay? The people not aware that help is available. The second is cost. Mental health is not always accessible, it costs money. This is free, right? This is free mental health movement, right? It doesn't cost you anything.
I think it is very, very scary to discover that you were in jail.
Yeah.
In an abusive situation, you don't want to know. And you don't know where you go. And the place to sit is better than no place at all.
And also, sometimes these people don't want to share their thoughts, that this is really what's happening in their life.
And
So they live in denial on top of everything else.
So I think the thing is that to make people aware, so that's why these groups are good, so that when you have friends, you realize it, but it is very, very difficult to disclose. And I think if people will have a trusting relationship, and they can, so I'm hoping that each one of you here be a light and for someone around you and be alert to what the needs are. But be tender and be careful when you handle this because they are very fragile, very scared. And also, the other thing too, once you got the disclosure, what do you do with it? You know, a lot of people don't know the rights of individuals. You don't know what are the organizations that will receive and accept. And this is why I still think that we need to promote mental health, not just in words only, but the reality, where would you go forward? I think that's something that we need to do.
And sometimes oppressors and abusers are experts at brainwashing,
Oh,
and they
for
make
sure.
you believe
For sure.
that they are the only people you can trust. That goes with the Stockholm Syndrome. That's what the
they
Stockholm
threaten
Syndrome
you.
is about.
They
You
also
trust your
threaten you.
abuser,
So,
and
I
they
mean,
threaten you,
you're not
yes.
safe. This is
Okay,
why.
he says you're a free woman. I don't bring words for you. You're a free woman.
It's easier said than done.
This is my favorite saying. I'll tell you, but you're a free woman. You can do anything you want,
Yeah.
right? Everyone is.
Freedom is relative.
Yeah, freedom.
There's no such thing as true freedom.
I don't think there should be, I don't think that even should be an issue.
No.
We are free.
Yeah, exactly. We have a big deal of freedom.
But you know what? There's always someone who's trying to control,
Oh, don't let them control you.
and you have to be strong enough to be able to be able to get out of that situation like
Okay,
that.
so let's go back to the lesson now. Okay. Now, so far, I'll just give you a review, okay, about the purpose of this group. Now, today's lesson is mainly threefold. To have better understanding about well-being, what does it mean to get well? Okay. The second thing is learn Viktor Frankl's three-factor theory, and then Wong's three-factor. Wong's three-factor theory is an expanded version based on research. Expanded version of Frankl. Okay, I'll explain to you why. And here, this is the World Health Organization. So mental health is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, not merely the absence of disease. So if you're healthy, according to World Health Organization, that you're physically healthy, you have socially, high level social well-being, relational-wise, okay? Your healthy relational network. And the key is mental. The key is mental, okay? The key is mental. Any question about this one? So the three are related, okay? You're suffering physically, your mentally is better, right? If you're mentally not well, your physical well-being suffer. And your social well-being suffer. So they're all connected, okay? Now this is a total well-being. You can see that you cover more than just physical and mental. Can you see it? So it includes physical, social, technological, economical, environment. Because why? You have no money, the problem in every realm, right? You got to have money to have a roof over your head, to buy food. Yes.
I think you have to be careful with where you go with that, because I take quite a serious issue with the idea that pursuing money makes you happy.
But you do need, financially, you need to be some level of financial support.
Food and shelter.
Yeah. So my brother, it's a funny part. My brother is a multi-millionaire, very rich, okay? And he said, this one from the claim, he said, anyone with food and shelter should be happy. That's from Fitze, from that boy. Anyone with shelter over the head and with food, daily food, should be happy. Yeah, it's true that you don't need very much to be happy. But you still, you need to have the basic financial support you need, right? You can't pay your rent, you can't buy food. Then you are in deep trouble. You can go to shelter, I don't know, go to the food bank. But finance, money doesn't make you happy, but you need money to live. Okay? There's no argument about that. So this is what we say. Ideally, a person who enjoys optimal well-being is well-being in all areas. Okay, next one. Now, this is a bit tricky now. Very interesting. So this figure is from my friend Carol Rip. She's a lady who is most famous for her research on mental well-being. Okay? Let's look at what she found. She found that a person who has healthy mind, who enjoy high level of mental health or mental psychological well-being actually has three components. First is self-acceptance. You have to be happy, accept yourself. That's why I say you can't start with anything when you're sick and tired of yourself. If you do not like yourself, how can you like life? If you want to run away from yourself, you will not be able to have a happy life. Right? It is self-acceptance. Autonomy means you're free to do what you pursue. You're a free woman or you're a free man. And then you must have a sense of purpose in your life. That's why I say I want to wake people up from their meaningless existence because they go run here, run there, every day, every year. Do you have a clear purpose? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? How do you plan to improve yourself? What do you want to accomplish? You do have a sense of purpose, and then your life will be meaningless. Anybody can have a sense of purpose. If you'll be able to environmental mastery, you're able to take care of your environment. You know, you do not let things around you take over your life. You are in charge, right? You are able to manage your environment. And a positive relationship, you enjoy a positive relationship. Again, personal growth. Everybody has to grow. Even in my old age, I haven't stopped growing. I'm still learning. There's still so much I want to learn. You know, sometimes it's kind of, you feel, oh, what are you? You're so old, I know you're tired, you know, what are you? But if you don't grow, you die. When you don't grow, when you don't struggle, if you don't struggle, don't strive to reach a goal, to stretch yourself, the end result is that you stagnate and you die. You degenerate. The opposite of not growing is dying. It sounds so gross, but that's true.